I don't interfere. All right, perfect. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
and welcome back.
everyone. And welcome back to another session for Save Recipe application.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, wow, you sound very good. Getting better and better every time. So, fantastic. Nice to see you all around. 5 people already here. And welcome, Trendy Codes. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you all, guys. How are you doing? How are you today?
Exactly. How are you, everyone? It's a bit weird. Our stream tends to be broken. Ah, I see. I should not be part of the stream.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So with that, we don't overwhelm our internet connection, just in case. So I close that off. We don't need that yet. All right.
Can you see us? Can you hear us?
Oh, 1 viewer. Something happened. I hope we are still online. Okay, anyway. I would say we just start right away.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah? So the bot is running.
We didn't get any feedback till now, but I hope everything is fine.
Yeah, I hope so too. Let's just wait a second. I think the tone was good. We could hear us. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Robin Hood, thank you so much for letting us know. Okay,
Great.
so
So,
Mahtab,
amazing.
you are the driver today.
Can
You will
start.
write.
Yeah.
We have a Windows keyboard on a Mac, so if we are writing a bit slower than usual, that's the reason. All right. So what have we done the last time?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think we did a lot of refactoring, Max.
Correct.
Or better to say, you were the driver.
Yeah, I was the driver
What
in that
did we
one.
do?
I think we created a lot of constants. We created some widgets to separate somehow the concerns of all the different parts. Hey Shiva, nice to see you.
Hi.
And exactly, we started to clean up our code mess a little bit, and now it looks already much better, much more mature.
And we also worked with DevTool.
Oh yeah, we tried to
That
work with
was-
the dev tools, right? Unfortunately,
and also
not so
the
successful.
mirroring, and also the mirroring,
And the mirroring,
of the,
yep,
of the
with the
application.
device. That
With the
was
device.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think we will use that more often, and maybe also in the videos. I don't
Yeah.
know. I found it very cool to use the phone and get directly the clone on the computer. But I hear you have a plan for today.
And to be honest, I wrote in the morning today, and I created a tweet and said that I want to learn more about Hive because I've never worked in the past with Hive. So I thought I can a little bit maybe prepare for our stream,
Okay.
which I didn't do completely.
Oh, that's perfect.
I started to create a small application, but that was mostly writing some forms and table and so far and so forth. So I then came to the database part.
Okay.
Therefore, we should learn today together.
All right. So what is Hive?
I think it's a database, the local database that you can use. This Hive. And probably you can tell us more, Max.
It's
or?
a NoSQL database. This is what I know.
Okay.
And I think we used it once in one live stream where we tried to implement it somewhere. I don't know anymore exactly which live stream, but it was, I think, for another application.
Okay.
What I like about Hive, or what I've read about Hive, is that it is very fast regarding to SQLite, which is like the alternative to it. So we can save our documents, our informations in the database and receive them very quickly. And it seems that Hive is super fast compared to NoSQL.
Is it also easier? Easier?
I don't know if it's easier because you still have to write, of course, the API to access and receive the data from it, and you have to write it down.
Okay.
I don't know what easier means in that area, right?
Okay.
So, but what I know is the documentation is already pretty good.
Okay.
And I would say we tried today together. And because we have already our form validation in place, if we remember from the last time.
Yes.
And so today we want to work with Hive and Hive Flutter to save some information down.
Right.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Right, so-
What do you think, guys? Is that something that you are interested in?
So if I just search for Hive in pub.dev, we can see that we have a couple of packages, right? No, that's not completely.
I think you have 5 at the end. They are interesting for us. That's Hive once. This is the, let's say, the main package where you find everything regarding to the Hive package. You can use it also for the main Dart part. So if you have just a Dart application, you can use that. The other alternative is Hive Flutter.
Yeah.
The Hive Flutter is working with the Hive part to give you the possibility of this database. Because, as you know, Flutter has a different file system because we are using the phone, the desktop, the web, and so on.
Yeah.
So we have to access the file system slightly differently. Okay. And this will be done with the Hive Flutter. Additionally, and this is something I hope, I don't know, they will provide for us maybe some widgets that we can directly include and work with them. So we get like maybe some validations or something in place. The third thing is the Hive generator. And as you can see, this is also something that I just guess now, which I don't absolutely be sure with, but it says automatically generates type adapters to store any class.
Okay.
So with this generator, and if I see in the docs as we have this Hive generator and build runner together.
Ah, exactly, okay.
And if you remember build runner, we created in a long time ago, I created a video called JSON serialization. And there we used the build runner to create for us code. And I think also Luke Paghetti in his interview also showed us an example how you can run build runner and create with it code for us. So it is generated code, not self-written, and the best code is that one that you don't have to write. Fantastic. Then let's go further. Hive cache. Well, caching is always a very interesting, important topic, especially if you use some data all over again.
Okay.
Right? So this is caching. You saved it somewhere very close so you can access it very easily and quickly. And I think that is exactly what happens here. A persistent cache that uses Hive.
But Max, just a question. The Hive package or Hive is for local database, right?
Correct.
So you have, for example, I assume you have an application. We are writing an application which the user can use it just on the phone.
Correct.
And will have and save all information on this phone.
Yep.
Now, all information are already in the phone. So what do I want to cache here? If I speak about Firebase or something like that, I can understand it, but
exactly this is what here is maybe also in place, a persistent cache that uses Hive. So the idea is more that we save something that we can receive from Firebase, for example, and save it as a cache in our Hive database. It's just an assumption. We have to take a deeper look to understand that fully. But this is just what I would assume from the naming, right?
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And Hive Listener, a tiny widget to listen Hive box changes. So it seems that we can make also Hive reactive. So we can, if something changes in our Hives, we could create a widget with that to directly get something. But as you can see, it is from another contributor. So it is not necessarily from the Hive team. From the Hive team itself comes only these free widgets and free packages. And I think we should start working with them, because then the documentation will cover every part that are related to these free packages. Okay,
just a question here. In the Hive docs, is the build runner? It's also a package that we have dependency.
But the build runner itself is part from the Flutter team and not necessarily from the Hive team. They just will depend on it.
Perfect. So you spoke about some boxes, and here is what are boxes. Do you know what's that? I don't know.
I understood the last time when we used it that Hive is organized by these boxes.
Okay.
And you would, how can you say that? You are not so familiar with NoSQL, I assume, right? So a box would be, there is it like the table in SQL. So you would have like, there's just the data stored inside, right?
Okay, can we use the extension which I used it last time, Max, for the SQL?
What did
you have the overview with the table?
No, we can't. No, unfortunately not. No, because this is a NoSQL database, so and it saves the stuff, I think, in a JavaScript object, where I could assume that they save it as a JavaScript object. But even this is not for sure. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
But we need these boxes to save, for example, all our data inside. So we can create a Dart object and then save the and say this box is related to this Dart object. So we can only save these Dart objects inside. Okay.
So each object will have its own box.
I assume so. Yeah, because as you can see, here is that Hive open box with E, and E is any type, right? It is just a generative type. And as you can see down here, the optional type parameter specifies the type of the values in the box. So if you have integers that you want to save, like 1, 2, 3, 4, you would say here this open box with an int. Exactly.
Okay.
All right. But I would say we can read, of course, now the full documentation. We can read, write, how we do everything. But I would just start by going into our application and come to the point where we really need Hive, right?
Okay, so let's go. Wait. Oh, I will just change this one so that our frame always.
I think you have to deselect and select it once more. Yes, and now it stays. Somehow, sometimes it's getting confused.
So that we have it always in front.
Correct.
Amazing. So we have here, when I click on the add button, normally, we have here a form where we want to write, for example, chicken, and select here the type of chicken, and go for a recipe which Max added last time and submit it. And after that, we want to, where do we want to see that? For example, here. If I click here on the noodle, probably we should see all the...
Correct, yes. So we need to save actually a little bit more than just that, right? So it starts already with the categories, right? Because we could have, I think we have already a list of categories, but this is currently hard-coded directly in the app. That's also fine. If we would try, or we can even leave it like that and say for now there are just these categories existent. But for the future it would be much handier, I would say, that we make a reference from the category to the food that we have. Yeah,
and also that we get the categories from the database and show it on the UI.
Correct, yes. But for now I think it's fine that we have just these 2, 4, 5 different ones. Hey, MNG,
Hey. Yes, hey, hi.
And whenever we save, then we just save the recipe for now. So we want to save the image, I assume. The name and the category.
The category, okay. And all of them gonna be in our, I think we have it in the model, or?
We have just the category model. Bless you.
Sorry, guys.
So we have currently just the category model with this name and the image URL. What I would like to see here is, and I don't know if this is part of the Hive part, but we need, I don't know if we have a model and a repository model, that we have an ID on the different parts here, so that we can connect that later easier. So do we have, what I would suggest for now is leaving it and first trying to save it somehow, and then we understand how we go further with it.
Okay, and what do we want at first to save? The categories? No.
No, the recipe itself. So we would just
I thought we create also a model for one recipe.
That sounds fantastic.
Okay, so we didn't create it. I thought we have already.
You see? I think we just have the controllers here that receives the informations, but we did not save the recipe somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we get here the drop-down values we get from the app provider. That's also interesting. So that means inside of that app provider here on the left, you can see there are all the categories that we have currently.
Yeah.
So at the moment they are hard-coded.
Okay, and here we have the add category.
But that's very interesting. We have an add category already as a possibility. I can't remember where we added that, but we have it.
Here, yeah. Max, add category.
I think we did that already somewhere. Then that was the first time when we had this plus icon on the top right.
Yeah.
And whenever we clicked it, we automatically created a new category.
Okay, I will have a look here. Where did we?
Yeah, it's not used anymore.
Okay, we have never used it.
That's one of the weaknesses of Dart, I think, or Flutter framework, that if we have a method that is not in use anymore, it's very hard to identify them.
I thought they're gonna be so gray colory.
Yeah, but only in other applications, like for example in TypeScript or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I would maybe then start with the categories, so that we save actually the categories first.
At first?
Yeah, because we have already a list here, and we have also the function for adding a category. I would highly recommend that.
Okay. So maybe at first I would say we want to keep with the separation of concern.
Okay.
So maybe we will create at first a new directory, which we will call it repository.
Yeah, sounds good. So the repository will be our backend, more or less?
Yeah.
Where we keep our data. Okay.
Everything that we want to communicate with our backend will be here in our repository.
Okay. How do you want to separate it? Do you want to separate it by use case? So like category will get its own repository, and or do you have another idea that we can use? I think those are all good, valid options.
No, I don't have, but I think what I saw here, right, there's here some best practice.
Can we make that a bit bigger? I think it's hard to read.
Here I saw some best practices modeling data.
Okay.
Can we have a look here and see? I will again close it. Right. Oh. Yeah,
it's more about how you will save the data in the end, right? So the key order, modeling data, and so on and so forth. But there are some important notice that I saw immediately. Like the first sentence does not have a query language per se, so it has just a limited support for sorting. That means that we have to do inside of our Flutter part with a sort function, for example.
Okay. Is it possible with the SQLite?
I think so, yes, because SQLite has a real query language, which is SQL, right?
Yeah.
And with that, we have the possibility to have more access to that.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I think we can live with that. Okay.
Values are really simple here.
Yeah, that's all right. So we have a key order, so we need a key at the end, sooner or later.
JSON data, right? Key and value.
I can't see that. Where do you see that?
Something key value stores.
Yes.
Really simple data can be modeled in a less complicated manner than, for example, in SQLite.
There's no scheme, which is clear because we save more or less directly the object of that as a string or something else. Okay, but how can we save now our object? We have an object with we have a list with categories, right? With a name and what is the other part from the categories?
The category has, let's see, we have a category model, we have a name, and we have image URL.
Okay.
The URL of the image, which at the moment is just a random image URL.
Correct.
Probably will change it in the future, I don't know. But we can save it also as well.
Let's go.
So, I would say, okay, I will create here a new file. And here, okay, the first, Max, can you explain me? We have a couple of steps that we should do. The first one is to initialize our database, right?
Correct. We need somehow to start up our database so that we can access it from everywhere.
Okay.
It should be a singleton, I assume.
Okay. So this is the first step that we should do? Yes,
that is the very first thing that the very first thing is to bring the packages into our
place. Okay.
Yes.
So, and the name of the file can be, for example, something like int
Hive
DB.
Yeah, Hive DB sounds fair.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And after that, I will go to our start, and these are the dependencies that we need. This one.
So if we go to the pubspec.yaml. Hey Minu, nice to see you. Very good.
Still, hi Mina.
How are you, Mahtab?
I'm fine, thanks. Very good. Here we go. We need also the dev dependencies.
I would take them with. I don't know if we need them yet, but we will see.
Yeah, okay, so I will add this one as well.
Fantastic.
Save it and pubget.
Correct.
And now let's see how we should initialize our database. I assume this is gonna be like that. Initialize Hive with a valid directory in your app file. You can also provide a subdirectory. And use hive.init.
Okay, so
non-flat apps. This is what we want.
Yes.
We have a flat application, so we can. Meanwhile, we have errors.
Yes, that was what I had last time, I think, if I remember right. That some of the dependencies have clashes with other dependencies.
Honestly?
So we can fix that, I think. We have to remove some version of Flutter test from SDK depends on Quiver.
Can you please tell me what's the difference between dependencies and def dependencies?
Sure, I can do that. That's quite easy actually. Well, dependencies are things that you really need also if your app goes into production. So you deliver your app to production, create a release mode, and you deliver it. Then all the dependencies will be part of your bundle. They will be also part and sent to the production part and will also be installed on every Android device. Def dependencies, on the other hand, get removed with your rebuild of release mode. So as soon as you build in release mode, all def dependencies will be tree-shaked and you will lose all access to it.
That means the def dependencies are just packages that we need to develop on our application.
That's only accessible and available inside of our development lifecycle. Exactly. That's the idea behind.
Yeah, for example, in our application, when we release our app, we should have access, for example, to the Hive Flutter or to the provider or the image picker.
Yes, so we need these accesses, but the Hive but for example HiveGenerator, which just generates files for us whenever we as a developer say please create us files, is not necessarily for the package. The same thing is for Pedantic, right? We don't want to get a Dart linter on a real device. That makes no sense. So we just removed that stuff.
No, the user can't see it at all.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, but we still have the error. So we depend on Flutter test from SDK. Can we check on which channel we are with Flutter?
Yes.
Just quickly.
Just.
A second.
Channel.
Yes. As you can see, we are unstable. But that should be fine, I think, even for... Can we maybe double check the packages? So if we jump into the Hive package and go to installing.
Yeah, let's see what's going on here.
1 for 1 plus 1. Okay, and how
which
does
one
it
did
look?
we... 1 for 1 did we?
Yeah, that's the right one. And Hive Flutter is 0, 3 plus 2, 1 back, and go to the Hive Flutter. Also to the installing. And this is plus 2. Okay.
What do we have?
Yeah, we have exactly the same one. Okay, that's unfortunate. So we have to Google for the error. Maybe we find something with the Hive.
Here.
In the run, I think.
Run, yeah.
Or no?
Oh, yeah, though.
Yeah, it could be that it's part of the messages, I think. Yeah.
Oops. Nice. That's a bit bigger.
So because save recipe on both Flutter test, SDK, and HiveGenerator. The problem is the HiveGenerator. Look at that.
Yeah.
So can we...
Solving failed.
Yeah.
Should I remove it for now?
Yeah, just remove for now the HiveGenerator.
If we need it,
we can still get it back, or check how we can solve that issue in that case. So let's see if we have other dependencies problems. Cool. Okay.
It looks good.
But interesting. That means we are most likely the Hive team is working on that, hopefully.
Okay, so that was everything. And now let's go to our Hive database here and see how we can initialize. Oh, we saw that already.
So exactly.
This one.
Yeah.
So.
But we don't want to do that here, or we can do that. We can do that. So
let's see here, for example, how in the example look like.
Oh yeah, true. No, just
I'm in the Hive Flutter.
Yes, exactly.
Back. Go. And we should have here store object usage.
Well, that would not help you with how you structure your code, right?
No.
So, yeah.
No, okay.
But you have the person here, and you see they do it directly in the main, where they init the Hive here. As you can see down here in the main part, it is asynchronous for them, and they initialize the Hive in that place right away. And we want to do it close to that. And and I can see now where the HiveGenerator comes into place. So I'm looking forward to up here. You can see they annote their different parts, like Hive type, which is the person,
and Hive 0 and
Hive fields, exactly. And with that, they define with the register adapter later that they create these objects. So we will see if we need that. I think we will. But for now, let's go back to our code. And I would recommend that we create a new class here.
Yeah. Class Hive DB.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Which is it?
It's Alt.
Here we go. This one. Oh. Sorry, guys.
So as I said, we have a Windows keyboard with a Mac OS. That's always a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hive DB. So what I would recommend is that we create now a method that we call, for example, init Hive.
Init Hive, for example.
You will learn it. In the end of the session, you will be a master on that. I promise you.
You are really hopeful. Okay, perfect. So this is our init Hive, and I think I can create a variable for them.
We don't need a variable
I
actually.
didn't do that.
What do you want?
Wanted actually just to see what was the.
I think that's Command Shift or Control Shift and V that you searched.
Yeah.
Hey Jack Wu, nice to see you.
Hi.
Hope you're well.
So.
Cool. Exactly.
For that we need a async.
Correct.
Here we go. And we should import. Yeah. The Hive package.
Careful. We need to import from Hive Flutter. That is very important, and I did the mistake the last time and searched like crazy for it. Because, no, stay open, stay on the top. We need to import now Hive Flutter.
Oh.
Slowly, Mahtab. We have time. Now search for Flutter Hive. Flutter, and then just enter Hive.
Flutter.
Remove one and enter Hive.
Enter Hive?
Just yeah, perfect. And now we see Hive Flutter.dart, press enter, and with that we have the import done, and usually that should help us with that init Hive, but it seems not to work. I don't know. Maybe we need both packages, that could be. No, we have not. Yeah, so we have both packages, and it seems that Hive Flutter has an extension method on Hive itself, and with that we have access to the init Flutter here.
Okay.
So
with this, we initialize our database.
We initialize Hive, and it says please start up your database that we can work with that. We are going to build our recipe app, Eslam. I don't know if you have ever seen it. We created therefore already like a small user interface in the last couple of sessions, where you can see here. And now what we want to do is we want to save actually a category or multiple categories in a Hive database. And the Hive database we just used because it is currently a bit a hype topic and it's pretty cool actually. Yeah. And what we want to achieve is we want to save an image URL, right?
Yeah.
And we want to save the name of that.
Yeah, the category name.
Yes, and now we just want to see how we can initialize the Hive database correctly and later use it to save our data into it.
Yes.
Oh.
So for now we initialize our.
Yes, but now we have to execute it, right?
Yes.
It doesn't bring us anything that we have a class where it sits. We have to execute it somewhere.
Okay.
And where would be the best option for that?
I would say if I close everything, we should do that in the category in the app provider.
No, we would. Is it like Floor? It is more like SQLite.
Okay. So
if you go to the main.dart.
Okay, here.
And we want to do it right before the application even starts. We want to right away initialize it. Okay. Because that is important, right? We want
because
to use
our
it all
application wants to use the Hive for everything.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Enjoy your meeting, Minnow. Yeah. So we have currently a fat arrow function up there, as you can see with the device preview. Yeah. And what we want to do is replacing that with a normal curly bracelet around the main, so that we can execute code up there before the run app is executed.
Okay, so this is
just select the fat arrow and press Alt Enter.
Alt Enter and convert this
to block body.
Here we go.
Fantastic.
And here.
And now we want to initialize our new class that we have and execute that init part.
sorry, Max. I read this message.
No worries.
It's better than floor because I think floor like room and
to be honest,
Android.
I don't even know what floor is.
I don't know either. So
we could just check it. Maybe floor database. So inside of our main.dart, we just want to execute now our class. You created a class, right?
Yeah.
So we
can access our class. Hive DB.
Exactly.
And after that, after I actually
import it, and then you first have to create the very instance of it, right? Because we don't have made it static, the function. And now we have to execute our init Hive.
Init Hive.
Yes. And I think we should also improve our init Hive method once more. So could we jump into it?
Yeah. Okay, I wanted to remove all packages that we
Control Alt and O, I think.
Control Alt.
And O. No, not Command. Control in that case. Yeah, fantastic. So and now jump into the init Hive function or method. Jump into it. Command B or and return void, right? Because we don't return anything. No.
Sorry for that. Here we go.
The method. We want to change the method. Yeah, void. We don't return anything.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
So, hey Ashar Ria. Rakshit. Perfect. So we have the init Hive. We made it asynchronous because we wait for it, right? And what happens now in the init Flutter? If we jump into the Hive init Flutter, I just want to read documentation. So Command B.
Init Flutter.
Then what we can read here. So Flutter extension for Hive. So as I said, it is an extension around the Hive. And it initializes the Hive with the path of get application documents directory. Wow, so that means it will automatically understand, oh, you are on an Android device, I have to save it there. Or hey, I am on an iOS device, I want to save it there. A good question is, and I think you know that a bit better than me, does it also support desktop and web at the moment? Most likely not, right?
I don't know. I don't read anything about
Maybe
this.
we can just see up here Android, iOS, and web. So most likely it will even understand that we are on a web browser and will use the web SQL. At least I could imagine that.
Okay, it's web.
Okay, so
I think it can
it will not work.
Or?
Yeah, but it will not work then with is web, right? I don't know. We have to check that.
Okay.
But fantastic. So with that, we have at least our init Flutter prepared. We get a future from it back. And it just creates something. So the only thing that we don't know yet is if it is initialized for all the applications. So whenever we access Hive again, that it is initialized and it is there, or if we have to do it all over again and again and again. For that, we would need then to create a singleton that sticks inside of our memory the whole time, so that we can also execute it. But okay, so we close that off here, that Hive extension. And now we have initialized. Now let's go further with our getting started.
So let's see what's going on here.
Back to the documentation at best. Perfect.
So we initialize our Hive and here open a box. All of your data is sorted in boxes. So which means, for example, I think await Hive open box. So we need to open a box for our category, right?
Correct. Yes, indeed.
You may call this to get the singleton instance of an already opened box, which we don't have it at the moment, but maybe later.
Correct.
And after that, the read and write.
But it's interesting. So it seems like that singleton pattern is already in place, so we don't have to worry about that. At least this is what I hope. So let's try that.
Okay.
So this has nothing to do now with the Hive DB. The question is now, do we want to write everything down here first? So we would have now, for example, an add category here, where we save the whole thing, or initialize category whenever we start the application, that we save everything down in the Hive.
Okay.
Or how do we want to process here? Or do you want to create an own repository for the categories?
I would say we can separate. For now, our application will have recipe model and category model.
Correct.
Or that's all.
Yep.
So maybe for now it doesn't make sense to separate them, but I think it's a good practice just to stick with that.
Both are absolutely valid parts. We just want to do it, right?
Okay.
So that's the question.
I think I prefer that to distinguish them.
Okay, so let's start it. Create a new file in the repository.
Yeah. I will say here, new file, and this is for the category.
Correct. Category, and then give it
Category
repository, for example.
repo.
Oh, so we create a new class.
I was no.
Use the Alt key, exactly.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Here we go.
Now, so the category repo, it will have a method, for example, add category, right?
Yes.
Or in that case, because we are on the repository talk, we will also bring our methods in the naming of that. So instead of get and set, we will use more save. So everyone knows now, okay, we save something in the database. We receive something from the database and so on. So our method would be have a good name if we call it, for example, save category.
Save category.
Does it return something?
No, not.
So we can specify that immediately.
And so say why.
Exactly. All right. So now we read multiple times that we have to create such a thing called box, right?
Yeah.
So you have that here.
So
perfect.
I just copy this one for now, so that we have here again also because it's future. We need here a category. So we have already our model, right?
Yes.
This is our category model. So I can import this one. This is gonna be
because we don't.
don't.
I would keep that like it is. Yes, because we want to have a variable that we can access later. Yes.
Okay.
So this box is now, you have to understand it like really a container where we just put stuff inside. Right?
Okay.
So the whole time we just put stuff inside. And so we want to keep that box because it is responsible for our save operators, read operators, delete operators, and so on. This will all manage the box most likely.
Oh, I thought it's just a box for our model.
No, the model is something completely different.
Okay, so.
It is really just there for our box so that we can go inside, grab our stuff that we want, and put something inside, and we can close the whole thing if we don't need it anymore.
Okay.
So this is the idea of the box. So we keep the box open as soon as we have it, especially here. And we can import Hive, exactly. And what I would suggest here is that we don't do that in the save category, because we have seen that there is like that singleton thing, right?
Yeah.
So to open the box, we just do it once, right? So I would recommend to create a category repo constructor, and in that constructor, we open the box once. And then after that, we use the other possibility to get the singleton here.
Okay. So that means we need here a category repo. Constructor. Yes,
that looks good. I want to ask about something. Is there admin or any user can add new category? The idea is that you are locally on your device. So it is just for the user who is currently working on the device can add a category. So there will be no user management in that case. Okay.
We can provide probably some default categories, but the user should be, I would say, should be responsible for his own category. So
correct. Yes.
Should be possible to add.
So this is the idea that we have at the moment. So so go for it.
So and we want to, instead of having here, we want to put it in the constructor, right?
Correct. We want to initialize the box inside of the constructor.
So I will remove this one here. But bring it.
Not in the parameter, right?
No.
Inside of the constructor, curly braces and so on? No. Yeah. Fantastic. And now Command V. Fantastic. So, and the box needs to be saved now inside of this category repo, because it will be the box for the whole category. So whatever we save, it will be this box where we get that. So we need a field or attribute inside of category repo, which contains our box that we want to use.
I didn't get Max.
Okay.
What do you want? First of all, it can't be awesome.
Correct.
Not a, because it's in the constructor.
Correct. A constructor can't
wait
be
for that.
correct.
Okay.
Fantastic. So now we want to have, before we fix that, go above the constructor and create us a variable called box.
Okay, yeah.
So,
This one. And
and
now here.
it is a future, and so we can specify that here because it will be a future of something that we will wait for. Fantastic. Now instead of await of that Hive open box, we just pass down, we remove the await, and now we know the box will be a future of this box that we receive. Exactly. So if we jump into open box, we can most likely be even more specific to our box, right? So we can see that is a future of a box with E.
Yeah.
So we can even say we get a box back from that. So if we go back to our category repo, and up there where we have the future, we don't have only a future, we have a future of a box.
We have a future of a box here.
Fantastic. And we can even be more specific because we get a future of a box category model.
Ah, okay.
Now, you have to do another tag. Yeah, fantastic.
Category
model.
Ah, okay. And now, yeah.
Yeah. And now our save category, if it needs to receive the box, right, can just say wait for the box. And then it can be sure that the box is initialized, it is there, and it can be used like we expected in every kind of the place. And we would not reinitialize the whole thing. And
every
it is
time.
One box for all categories.
Okay.
Makes that sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Fantastic.
So.
I don't know if this is the best pattern. This is just one that I would use now.
This is
okay, so if something is wrong here, we will learn that in the future too.
Amazing.
Hey Anmol, thank you.
Hey Anmol, thank you.
Really like to hear that.
Yeah, you motivate us. Perfect. So now we create our first box, which is for our category.
But could we do something? One last part. We open a box with a weird name. It's called test box.
Test box? It's just box. Ah, here.
Yes. So
okay,
it would be better if we
category box.
Correct.
Out.
To be honest, I really like the naming. The box thing is
box
really cool.
and
it's good to understand. It's good to keep in mind. Okay, cool.
Actually, it's like variable.
Yeah.
Or?
In the end, yes.
It's a variable.
Like it stores its stuff.
Bigger stuff, yeah.
Okay, so back to the documentation, right?
And should it stay with box just?
That's a good name for now. We don't really mind for that because it is not really important how the naming here is. And it is a box, right?
It's a box.
And it's a good name. What we could do is for the naming convention for all other like category repo and recipe repo and so on, we just create always one box and then we know how it works.
Yeah.
And if we need now later, for example, the information from two boxes, we would access that via the category model or category, the category repo and the other repo and receive it from there.
Recipe repo and
the only thing is what we could do is to make it private.
Yeah.
That would be
makes
just
sense, I think.
That would be just very good.
And now I'm really.
What do you want to do?
I wanted to use the FN one.
Ah, you need to. I think that's Shift F6. Yeah.
Max, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Refactoring, perfect. So now we have this one.
It's just complaining because it's never used the box, right? Because it's private. It can now identify if somewhere inside of this category repo uses it. But we will do that now in save category because here we need our box, right? So what we will do is we create an internal variable for this method, like var box or var, I think box is a good name, var box. And now we say equal and we await for the box up there so that we resolve that future.
I will wait at first for the box.
And now we can work with this box inside here. We can work a whole way.
I have just a minute, Max. I have just joined. Why do we use Hive generally?
So our idea here is that we create a local database where we can save everything inside. And we just use Hive because we want to make ourselves an idea how it is compared to SQLite in that case. Hive is a database that is locally on your device. So it is a file system database, and that is different like Firebase. Firebase is on the cloud, and you would save and synchronize your information there. While Hive is very easy to use, and it is really just on your device, which makes it a bit better. So what you can do is, for example, if you have a server and you get your data from there, you could use Hive to save the data there and receive them as a cached information there. Okay, and you found already the next part that we have to do, right?
Yeah, our method is save category. And as I assume to save category, we want to use the put, which is gonna be something like add, I think. So,
and as you can see, it is a key value pair, right? So the name is David, for example.
The name is, okay.
We want to try that, Mohammad. Yes, we want to try to save a picture in Hive in that case.
So, sorry for that, just a minute here, box.
Equitable is a package that is used by the block pattern, I think, and it makes it possible to compare two objects with each other, and you can add like a comparable adds part for that. So what do we have here?
We have here also add. That's this one here.
Okay.
Add category model.
And is there also a put? Yes. So there needs to be a difference. Do you know the difference?
I would say the put is specific for Hive, probably.
Okay.
I don't know. It's what I assume. And the add is what a list method which we can use in general in
And how could we identify how it works directly?
So I would say let's jump into put and see how this one is work. Save the key value pair.
Okay.
Okay.
So and where is the difference to add?
And I would say, for example,
you can add.
Here we go. I'll go out. For example, if I would use get add, I think it's not a key value pair. It's just value. Save the value with an auto increment key.
So that's very interesting and important. So we get a key from that, right?
Yeah.
If we would use put, we can save it by key value pair, and we can identify it ourselves. So we write, for example, Mahtab, and the object inside is then your object. And then we have another object that we call Max, and then we have my object inside.
Okay.
But with add, we create this key automatically. So for example, if we add another element, we receive a 1, for example. So this is the first object that we put inside. Then we create another one, we get 2. Another one.
So we don't have any access. We don't have any access on the key. We just save the value.
We can just not save our own keys.
Yes. Okay.
So I would recommend to use add actually,
because we don't need to change it all the time.
Correct. But additionally, I would recommend that our category model receives a new field or a new attribute that we call key or ID or something, just to make sure we save also this information somewhere.
Also to be unique, or
that needs to be unique, exactly for one.
So here is our category model, and at the moment we have just a name and an image URL, and what we want to do is to have also an ID.
Hopefully it is an int, but yeah.
I would say it's an int. Oops. Okay, so I will just do it manually. And we need an ID.
Careful, you can't do that. You can't mix.
Oh my goodness!
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, so I can mix it.
You can mix it. As you can see, this is a named an unnamed parameter, and this is a named parameter. But you have to decide for one. If you want to have that as an unnamed parameter, it needs to be in front of the named parameters part. Or if you want, then it is mandatory to create an object. And if you have that as a named parameter, it needs to be in that curly braces.
Okay. What do you think? Should it be named parameter?
I think it should be because it can be empty. It could be null.
Okay.
And then we don't have to set that. Fantastic.
So, like that. Now we have ID. Perfect. And now?
The problem is, or the question is, do we want to allow to save multiple categories with different names? But I would say we keep it like that for now, but in the future that would be something that we have to keep in mind.
For example, that the user can't add two chicken with different IDs.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Correct. Okay,
So-
for Muhammad, you can store, that's a good point. Yes, we could save it as a string, but because we have currently only allowed to have network images, but we have to change that later maybe, or we have to do that for the recipes. But for the categories, there will be always images from the internet at the moment. Maybe hard-coded later, but at the moment they are just from the internet.
I think we had to use the network image, or?
We didn't have to, but we did.
Yeah, because we wanted to use the URL
Yes.
stuff. Okay.
Okay, so but now we have here save category. But can we, which category do we save here?
We want to save which category?
Yes. So what do we put in that add?
So, it's gonna be in string with the category name, I would say. And this is what we want to add here. No?
No. What value takes our box at the moment? Our box has a specific type, right? What can we save in our box?
Category model.
Correct. So
okay. And from the category model, we want to have the name.
yes. So whenever we call save category,
yes,
we have two options. We could create the category model inside of that, or we could create the category model directly in front of it and push only the category model inside.
Okay.
So these are the two options.
So we can go for the category model. And
as you wish. It's a decision. If you do that, then we do it.
I'm not sure here. Yes. Here we go.
Careful. How do you create an object? Do you want to create an object?
I don't know. I think so.
So again, you can put a category model inside of the save category as a parameter, right?
Okay.
And then just save that parameter. That is one option. And the other option is you get three parameters, name, ID, and the other one. And then you push it as a new object inside of the database.
Okay.
So how do you want to proceed?
I'm thinking about what are the pro and the con of that.
One is you would have the logic to save a category model completely here inside.
Which maybe is not really efficient, or?
There is no difference. It's a no game.
No?
It's just a question, where do you want to construct your object in that case? And this is really, there is no real good answer for that. You can do it wherever you want at the end.
Okay. So I would say I will create a new object here.
Okay.
From the category model.
And where do you get the name from, and so on and so forth?
And I will access here to the name of the category model.
You can't access because you created it fresh, so this is empty. It's all null.
Oh, you're right.
We want to put something in. We want to create this object. And we have created a constructor for the category model, right?
Yeah.
So,
Max, you should tell me. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
so
know.
inside of our category model, we have created a constructor with a name, an image URL, and an ID. Now we have here in the repository, and the repository wants to save a category model.
Yeah.
So now I told you we have two options. Number one would be we receive from someone
the category.
Exactly, a category model that we want to save and pass that inside.
Yeah.
And with that, our method could be done.
Okay.
The alternative could be that we say, okay, we get here three strings like string 1, string 2. This is not a good name. Let's call it name.
This is the name.
String
this is the ID.
Something ID and string image URL.
Yeah.
And then we create the category model here inside. But I would highly recommend, or after that, what I thought here, because if we want to, for example, create, if we want to get another layer, like a service layer or a block layer or something like that, then we would not do it like this. We would create this object before we put it in save. So my recommendation at the moment is just using the category model here.
Okay.
And put it down in the category put.
So I'm going with the category model and edit all of them. Okay.
So, and that's it already.
You know what I wanted to do at first? I don't know why I wanted to save the category name just. But this makes sense. We need to save the whole category.
Yeah, sure. We
need
want
all
the
the elements.
URL, we want the name, we want everything, right? That we can just receive it later from our box and can use it again wherever we need it. Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is safe. We
This
have
is
usually.
safe.
Do you know? Are you aware of the CRUD methods? So-called CRUD, CRUD.
I heard about it, but I don't know.
Okay, so C means CRUD methods. I have to.
So this is CRUD, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
this is, guys, what we are talking about. Okay, go for it.
Correct. And so C stands for create,
Okay.
R for read, U for update, and D for delete.
Yeah.
And all of these are usually parts of the database pattern. So whenever we work with a database, this is the things that we want to implement, right?
So that means the next thing is create, read, update, delete.
Correct.
So there's no add. Create.
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 So
okay.
create would be when we add something new.
Okay.
Update is something else. I don't know. Most likely we have that already, because whenever we update, always with a put, because we know the key, right? And we want to update the object to it.
Okay.
I assume that is like that. We have to check the box later if this is correct. But CRUD is like that thing that you have in mind if you are working with the database.
Yeah.
And now our category repo needs to fulfill these possibilities, right? So it
that means as soon as we create, for example, the first category repo, in our case for the Hive, we should provide all 4 functionality.
At least we should think about to create them, because that would make this the work later way easier, because then we can say, okay, we want to save a category. Yep, we use this part. We want to delete it, or we use this part, and so on and so forth.
So let's create the rest of them, right?
Yeah, let's go.
So the save category gonna be the create part. After that is R, which is for read. Perfect. So we need another method, which is read category or get category.
I would say read is a good name.
Right.
But be careful, we have to distinguish here a little bit, because our box could have more than one element, right?
Yes.
So we have one that we get, or read categories, so a multiple, where we get a list of categories back, where we maybe say get all or read all categories.
Okay.
And the alternative is to receive just one category. So, and the question is, what do we need? I think at the moment we just need all of them.
Yeah.
If we get them, we work with them, good, fair enough.
Okay.
So, okay, so read categories. If you read that name, would you say that we return void in that case?
No, actually we read a category. We will get a category.
One?
No, categories, a list of categories.
Fantastic.
So here we go. From the category. Perfect.
Model.
Category model. Right.
Very good.
And now let's see. I think I saw before. You can. Okay, this is the put. This is get. And I think with get we can actually get the name here in this case, and we can read it.
But be careful. If you read here get with the name, this is the key to our object, right?
Yeah.
So when we put name inside, so we get David back.
Yeah.
But in our case, we get now a random ID, right? And we want to have all categories, not just one.
Yes.
With that, we would be specific to one.
Yeah, okay.
So, and now we have to check if we can get multiples somewhere.
So, where can we find it?
So the best easiest way is first initialize our box object inside of the method.
Yeah. So should we go again with box?
We can just use that name. I mean, this is pretty self-explaining for each.
With await and box again. And I think if I could do that,
yeah, thought the same. Very German.
Same. Okay.
Okay, so now you can see it's getting red because we want to return a future at the moment.
Yes.
Because it's asynchronous, right? So we return a future of list of category models.
Right. And like this. Here we go.
But you see, you get faster with the keyboard. It just takes time.
Everything is just practice. And
Fantastic.
here we go. we have here our future. And what we want to do is we want to go for box and we want to get. Here we have a get method.
Yep, but you see already we received just one category model. We need like an iterable would be a solution.
Yeah.
But this gives us the values. I don't know how easy that is to use. Delete all, get add. No, it's just also one with the index in that case.
Is lazy, path, put. Oh, we have put all.
Yep.
Maybe we have also get all. No.
Okay, so we really take the values. It is just the values operator in that case.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And can you select that one and use it? Yep. And if we jump into it, I just want to see the documentation. So as you can see, all the values in the box. Fair enough. That's exactly what we want.
Yeah, the values are in the same order as their keys. Okay.
So, and with that, we receive our the box values. Is it iterable? So we have no,
it's not. It's not a method.
Yeah, no.
It's a getter function.
It's a property or a getter function. Okay. I'm not sure. I didn't read it that fast.
Okay.
Okay, and now we want actually just returning this one, right? As soon as we get the values, we return them.
We'll return this one.
So, but now we have to be a bit careful because we have here box values is a property that is an iterable of this list part.
So maybe what we should do is to make it to the list.
Correct.
Or
just to make sure that here everything works well at the end. Fantastic.
Now we have a list of categories.
Yes.
All
category models.
Okay.
Perfect.
So from our CRUD, what is that? Is this a board? No, I don't know.
CRUD? Yes, it's a known wording in software development.
Okay.
So the most
we have
of
the
you will
create.
Find it.
We have the create part. We have the read part. The next one gonna be the update part.
All right. So let's try that one.
So when we want to update our categories or the category list, this is also, I think, a list of category. No? Or we want to update one of them actually. We can't update all of them at once. So this is gonna be from category model. Is what we want. I think so. Let me write, and after that we can speak. Okay, and now this is the update category. So we want at the beginning just update one of them, and this is method. And here we need again a box with the await and the box. And here, okay, we need again a Asong, and we will get it as soon as the user tap on it or something like that. So it's gonna be a future. Oh,
yeah.
You wanted to say something.
Yeah, just you are so enthusiastic at the moment, so I just let you work here.
And you want to tell me after that it's not true.
No. That till now that could be. That is something that you decide.
Okay. And now, okay, I will just try it at first.
Yep.
I will go for box dot and see what we have here. We want to update. Contains delete. Not empty. Lazy path. Good.
So what would you do if you have a list of multiple elements, right?
Yeah.
And now you want to pick one of the elements and want to update that. So what do you need from that object?
So at first I should get the specific category that I want.
Yes. So how do you get the specific one?
With the getter method.
But what do you need to get a specific one?
Tap on it.
You need an ID. You need something that you identify the object, right? So where do you get your ID from? Where do you get the information which one you want to update?
So what I can do, okay, I need an ID. That means the user will tap on one of the categories. So I will get the input from the user actually.
Correct.
Which gonna be, for example, an integer.
Slowly. Why just the ID? You need to update it to something, right?
I wanted to actually say that the input parameter here gonna be the ID from the category, and after that get the whole category with the ID.
But how do you update then?
I don't know.
An update is a new state, right? You want to get new information in your database.
Yeah.
So you receive now an integer, you would receive that, search in your database, get the selected one, and now you want to update it to something else, so you want to override it more or less. But you need to get that information to what you want to override it from somewhere. And you don't know that, right? The user enters that.
Yeah.
So where do we put, what do we get now inside of this function as a parameter?
Yeah, I would say we'll get category model.
We get a full category model, and this is our new or updated model. So we get a new model or an update model.
So it's gonna be the category model.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and now
here
we can use a function that we know already, because now we know the ID of this category model.
Yes.
So, and what is now the method that I'm searching for?
Read category?
Put.
Put? I thought, okay.
Because with put, we take or we give a key inside, which search in the list for the element, and then we override it with the element that we got. So we put it with the key, and this is category.
So the value gonna be the category model dot ID.
Correct. And the value is the category models itself.
Is the category model itself.
That we receive from outside. So now we update our information. So the question is now, and this is what you specified, you said we return a category model with a future. So that means the outside world will wait for that category model to appear. Do we send this back? This is not a read method, right? So we just say, okay, it's saved.
So it's gonna be saved, updated in the database, but nothing will happen in the UI.
The question is if we want to push something back or not, but for now I would say we do void as less as possible.
Void is enough.
Correct. Now you have to remove that future stuff.
Something.
Fantastic. Good. So now we got a category model. We push it inside. We override the right ID because we know it is exactly the same. So that is one option. Another option, if you pass down, as you said, the ID inside, then you can get also the ID, which is just a number, and the category model, which is then an element, right?
Yeah.
And then you could search in the list for the ID and override it with the new category model.
Okay. Yeah. This is another option.
It's another option. Works exactly the same. Question is just, what do you prefer? Or if you have a specific use case where you say something like there are some elements that are not possible to be overwritten, then you can write here some logic that says, hey, throw an error whenever you do something that is not allowed.
Okay. But do you know what I'm thinking about now?
Sure.
Okay, the update category. The user will click or tap on a category which he wants to update it.
Change the name, for example.
Change the name, for example.
Yep.
What I'm thinking is, I will tap on the category, so I know already what's the ID of this category is.
Correct.
And a new screen will pop up, I will change the name, and everything will be updated in the same category that I had already. Okay. So,
makes sense?
Makes sense.
Perfect. Alright, so then, go further. The last one.
And the last one, CRUD, delete. So, what do we want to...
Oh, I think you learned now today something.
Yeah, perfect.
Stays in mind.
Amazing. So, we need the D for delete, and here we need delete category.
Do you want to return something?
Do I need to return something? I think I should delete it also from the UI.
Okay. But if this is executed well, then you know you can delete it from the UI.
Yeah. So it's... I think I don't need any return parameter.
Sounds well.
Perfect.
Do you get something inside of the method? Is there anything that you don't know?
It's again the category model.
It could be a category model, it could be just an ID.
But it's again part of the category model.
Not necessarily, because now you delete just. So you don't want to override something. You just search in your list and say, this element can be gone. We don't need it anymore.
So, and I can delete it by ID.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So I can just say this is an ID that I get here. And I will initialize again. Wait, box. I have awesome. And what I want to do is delete, and here I need the key. Delete all, delete. Okay, delete is fine. Now I need the ID here. And I think with that we will delete the whole object, right?
Correct. So the entry is getting deleted. So, but now we have to check a little bit. First of all, we start with the add function, right? Because what I want to know is if we get really just an ID that is an integer, or is it something that we just have in our mind that we think that is working like that. So jump into the add function, please. No?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here we go. Here.
Fantastic. So and you can see we get a future of int. And I assume, just from what I can read here, saves the value with an auto-increment key. So we return the key here in that area.
Yeah.
So I assume this key is an integer, if it is automatically generated.
Yeah, okay. And this is actually also the key for our ID.
Correct. So
it could actually work.
It could actually work, yeah. But this means also for us that we have to do something with that ID. Because if we save the category down, we receive it from the list. No, that's fine. I think we are happy with that.
Okay.
On the other hand, wait, no. What we have to do before we save the category model, how can we do that?
What are you thinking about?
The problem is, if we receive the data, like we read the categories, right? Then we receive the category model with the key. But how do we receive the key here? The key is automatically generated, and the category model currently does not know that, right? When we save it, it doesn't have an ID yet. It will receive the ID as soon as we add that value into the box.
So you mean it will crash because we don't provide any ID at the beginning?
No, that is not a problem. The problem is more, how do we work in future with it? If we read the categories, do we receive now inside of box values that, or is it understood from the system that ID is the key?
Yeah.
I don't know that yet. We will find out. Can we jump into the values here, for example? So we get an iterable of E, which is just the value itself.
As their keys. Let's see here. The put you should also key and value.
Correct. With put it's clear. It is more a problem with the key. We define it with the Hive types and so on. Yeah. All right, that makes sense. Yep. Okay.
What do you mean? Which
we create later with the Hive generator. We create the boxes, the elements for that, and we have most likely to specify which of the fields is our key.
Which one is the ID? Which one is the
Correct.
name?
I can imagine that. So but for that we have to go back to the quick start of the so quickstart.hive. Yep. What is that? Hive supports. Why do you scroll further? Did you read it?
No, I wanted just to see if anything else.
Why is there the white boxes? That looks weird.
I don't know.
Here we go.
We have an example.
Okay, so Hive supports all primitive types: list, map, data, time, big int, and uint 8 list. Perfect. Any object can be stored using type adapters. All right, can you click on type adapters? Because I think that is so. Generate adapter. And here we go with the Hive generator. And I think here we come also to our problem. For almost any class, to generate type adapters for a class, annotate it with add Hive type. Annotate all fields which should be stored with Hive field, run build task, and register the adapter. Okay, so
which means given a library this here. So we need these are the string, the name, age, and the friends are all Hive fields.
So the Hive field is like the table column. I would think about it. and the Hive type is just a declaration that it is something special.
This is the object, or?
But before we go further with that, and I know we have to, we first have to find an idea how we can use...
Fix the problem.
Yeah, so we first have to fix the problem with the Hive generator here. So I would recommend to jump once more back, go to installing.
But here.
It's not part of that yet, so here in the quick start.
Quick start.
And add the Hive generator.
So back to our pubspec.yaml. And that was part of the def dependencies.
Correct. And now pub.get. Let's see if we get some errors again. Yeah, here we go. So it is part of the Hive generator 0.6, depends on Dartx 0.2, which is... Can we do,
Google that?
Instead of Googling it, I would just jump into the Hive generator in the package and would look into the GitHub repository if they have already something open, because it sounds like a very big issue, right? So if we go to the Dart package, we didn't do anything, right?
No.
So it can't be from our side.
There's
So we search for, we search for the package first, Hive generator, or just Hive, it's enough to find it, I think. Yep, so the first one, and now jump into the repository here. It could be the same, but you are not sure, right? So I would use that way.
I had also here view reports issues.
Oh yeah, perfect. So we can directly see that.
Read them.
Yeah, that's something else. Unusable dependencies with Flutter SDK. That sounds more like our problem, right?
Only class, I know. Yeah, I think.
So let's jump into it and let's see what the issue is about. Okay, so they have the same problem, I think.
Yeah.
So Flutter pub-get, Hive Flutter.
Hive Flutter and Flutter test any from SDK, and this is exactly what we have, right?
Not sure, but let's see. The question is good. Is this repository maintained? Okay, so there is a problem, same issue. This was already fixed.
Yes, same issue.
Look at that.
Work.
Okay, but this is Hive Flutter. The problem is Hive Flutter is working for us. This is no problem, right? So it needs to be something with that. Can we search up there for the Hive generator? Okay, what do we have here? Hive problems. Here we go. That sounds like our problem more. Because Hive generator 0.6, yeah, that looks exactly like our problem.
Duplicated. Yes.
Okay.
Package upgrade will solve the issue. Can you guide the test? Issue we can solve.
That sounds interesting. Can you open up that part here, down there? No, it's just okay. So we have to override it. Okay, interesting. So can you open up that link? Maybe we'll find there something inside. Okay, and then directly depend on the Git. Wow.
Not nice, oh?
No, not really.
So what we can do, maybe, what is this one?
Yeah.
Fixes this.
I could just emerge it at, oh, it's closed.
A fairly big problem, not found.
Thanks should be fixed in 277 and 287. But this one is merged, so if this would be the case, it would work. Okay. Thanks a lot. Okay. And this is one is closed. Yeah. So go back. I don't think this will solve that.
I'm not smarter than before, to be honest.
And can we check the 287? It's also merged. Yeah, it seems bad for us. I think we will solve that with this here. If we go back to that what Nash wrote, that was this part. I'm using dependency override.
Manually set package.
Yeah, that would be a solution, but this is an old issue, right? I would assume that this would be fixed somehow in May. Yeah.
Do
Okay.
you have, guys, an idea how we can fix it?
But I think this is always a problem if we work with 0 dot something dependencies. So this is 0.6. So I thought, are we not already in 7 something?
HiveGenerator solution. Should we maybe search for the
Can we go
error?
for the pub upgrade? Just take a look if something helps. Oh. If we remove the dependency to the tests, I know this is a very bad solution and most likely nobody will do it. But this solves it already. So for today, I would say it's okay, because we don't write so many tests for that app, which is a bad solution, I know, but this could be a problem solver. Another thing that we could do is maybe just downscale our dependency, that we hard write that dependency to, let's say, a 0.6 without any additionals. Maybe this works. No, it's also broken. So everything, nah. But that's a shame now. How would we do that?
This is the error, right? How about if I just go this one? Maybe we will get. How do you convert images into string? Dart.
No, this is just because of the Dart-X part. So this is not what we do, because we don't depend on Dart-X actually. So it should just work out of the box.
Ours is because of the test, right?
Yeah, I think it's because down here we see that Flutter test is version any.
Yeah.
And the Hive generator is 0.6, and somehow.
So let's see this one. X.
Yeah, but I think the first one is the right one. That's because of the Flutter test part. No, it's also the wrong one. Okay, I don't know.
Maybe we can see. I think they requires
Quiver.
No, so
it's going in the right category. The question is, can you scroll down to the solution? Maybe there's. Can you do that dependency override here? Just copy that and bring it into the other. Just below the def dependency, we make now a dependency override. Oh, careful, you have to indent it once to the back.
we need this one also?
Yeah, sure. It's a we override now a dependency.
Yeah, okay.
And it needs to go to the left, both of them. Yep. And make an enter here.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
And now popped up again. Yeah. So what we say is we enhance our version of Dart-X. Oh, we can even override it with 4.2, I think, but that's fine. As long as it works, I think that's okay for here. Hopefully it don't breaks into different errors now.
Let's see.
Okay, So as you can see, it's getting an exclamation mark to warn you that you override that with on purpose. But you see it's working now. Our tests are still running and we have the Hive generator running.
I think this solution is better than delete the Flutter test.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Perfect.
oh, there was still an error. Can you go to run? The getter Hive isn't defined in class Hive DB. Hive DB is from...
Where is it?
From here, I think. Can you restart or hot reload the whole thing? No, directly again. Would not resolve package. Okay, now it works again. No.
Missing plugin exception. No implementation found for method. Oh, okay.
So no measure for get on channel. Okay, so we are jumping here from one error into another.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's solve that. I know it looks bad, but can we search for that error here? Missing plugin exemption, no implementation found for that. Maybe we have to download the path provider. Maybe it's a dependency.
In the meanwhile, Max, maybe we can answer Mode Render is asking, how do you convert images into a string? Ah, okay, the question is not for us.
Yeah, but anyway, I think the easiest way is to convert it to an int8 list and after that to string the whole thing. That would be the easiest way. Else, I think we have to search for that to get there a good answer. Does it fail on iOS, Android, or... wait, do we have to add more dependencies and allowances to the Hive database? No, I think we have to make it for the device specifics. So if we check here and we search on the left side, and let's see if there is something regarding Hive in Flutter. Can you go there? And search for, because I think there are some things that we have to add, like initialize Flutter apps. I don't know. Can you go to the Hive package from pub.dev?
Yeah.
Just that we see if the how the Android part is running there. If we have to add some specifics there. So and scroll a little bit. Usage, quick start, store objects. Go further.
Hive.
Value listenable Hive box listenable. Oh, cool. So you can see we can also get the values directly from Hive later if this is working. But I'm pretty sure that we don't manage to do that today, unfortunately. It's not part of that 2 hours. Sorry, guys. Okay, we have the benchmark licenses. But I didn't find anything for Android that we have to set up something. Weird.
Example. Sorry, do we have here?
No. Can we search once more for that? If you go into Android and search just for this get application documents directory.
I thought it's something for the main part, or I think last time we did something. Okay.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Right.
Ah, here.
Here.
On Android, this uses get data directory API on the context. Consider using get external storage directory instead if data is intended to be visible to the user. So no, that's fine.
Thing is, right here. Add the following to your pub spec.yaml. Initialize Hive with a valid directory in your app file.
But as we wrote that init Flutter will automatically use the main directory.
Okay.
So it should be fine actually. So I'm a bit confused about this error message right now. Where does it come from? From the UI Dart state, unhandled exception, missing plugin exception, no implementation found for method.
Does it have something?
Provider.
Sorry, does it have anything with this override that we did?
Not really.
Dependency
At least
override?
I can't imagine, because the dependency override is for something called Dart-X, which is more responsive
We didn't
stuff.
have it before.
We didn't have the error.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was not running.
Yeah? What's it? I don't know. Okay.
I just completely stopped the app and started it once more. Maybe we are also... I did that already.
Yeah? You
Yeah,
did?
but you can start it up again.
Unfortunately. So here we go again.
Yeah. That's a bit weird now. Okay, so Hive has some problems here. Okay, so sorry for that.
Do you know still what was the use case that you used the Hive?
No, I don't know
Product?
anymore.
No?
I think we did that the last time. So now it looks better, or doesn't crash at least. We got the app that was running and I don't see an error here. Or? No, okay. Alright, yeah, so just restart the application sometimes help, right? Fantastic.
Perfect. Okay.
Alright.
So. Oh, we don't need this one. And okay. The next step. We have now the methods which we want for our which we needed for our repository. And now let's get some use of them.
Yeah.
Let's use them in our provider, for example. No, yeah, here. We have add category, but do you know what? We don't have any screen where we can add a category.
Correct.
So we should create it also.
I would just add a button for that for now, just to test around. But at the moment we keep now that. We have now the list of categories, right?
Yeah.
So what we want to do is something like, okay, if the database of Hive is empty, we would want to pass them inside.
All of them.
So what I would recommend is that we go to hivedb.dart and create something like an init, makes it sense, but an init of the init, so init data or something like that. So that we get like default data or something inside of our database, so that we can use that later. Okay. So init test data is a good name, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some light.
It's just light. I can see something here. Perfect.
Fantastic. All right. So we would have a void.
We will have a void and init data.
Test data.
Init test data.
We can change that later to something else if we don't have test data, but let's start with that and then we can increase that. So, and what we have here is the list that we have currently in the app provider. We search for the app provider. That whole list comes now into this method. We would not have that here in that place anymore. We would add that in the other.
Let's remove it here. So, like that.
Just keep it like that. If it's red, that's all good.
Okay.
Welcome back, Minu. Nice to see you.
Hi. And now we have it here.
Yes. So, and what we would like to do is now to save that. Yep. Cool.
Okay. Now, what we want to do is to call our category repo.
Correct. Yep.
After that, we want to save category. And we need a category model. In this case, we have the categories. Or that we want to add actually. But here...
But can we save all categories?
No. So let's go for one of them. Right.
But we want to save all of them.
Right. Okay. we want to save all the categories here.
Yes.
In our save category, at the moment we save just one. But we want to do all of them. So this is not the list of category.
Correct.
Problem that we have now.
So we want to save all of them. So we have to for each all of the elements in the categories.
Yeah, okay.
And for every element inside, we just want to save it.
Okay.
So we go one level up and write categories, underline categories.
Categories.
Tab. Dot for each.
For each. This one. Now we are going to category repo.
We can create one category repo that we just reuse all the time.
So I can create here. Create a category repo.
Just name it repo. I think that's enough. For now, at least.
Yeah.
Equals category repo, right? The keyboard kills you,
It
right?
makes me so crazy. So this is the category repo. It's this one, and now we have a category repo. Okay, just like that. And what we want to do is go for each element. We want to add it. So we are going to
not the element. We want to access the repo.
The repo here.
And now dot save category.
Dot save category.
For every element.
For every element that we iterate through.
Yes. And semicolon at the end. Okay, and the last.
Also.
And the last element can be gone. The whole line can be deleted. Don't need it anymore. So the problem is whenever we start up the app and we run into the init state, we will write always the same categories, which would be sad, right?
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to first get all the categories and want to check, are they already inside? And if they are, we don't want to execute that element. So how could we do that?
So we should go with an if-else statement, or?
We need a
check it at first.
Condition, but first we need to get our information from the database. So how do we get that?
So we are going to our repo, and here we will get the read categories. And no, probably to do that, I will go for an if-else statement. No, let's about it.
Okay, we receive here now a list of categories, right?
Yes, here.
So fantastic. And now we want to check, before we go into the for each, we want to check if read categories is empty, so the length is 0.
Yes.
Then we want to execute it. Else we do not.
Yeah.
So the only thing that we need is actually to test against that. So we write if surrounding that repo read categories.
Yeah.
Take that up in the if statement. Dot length. Oh.
This is a repo read.
We have to wait for it, right? It's future.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it would be better that we create a variable for that.
Okay, ask for this one.
Yeah, go for it.
I wait at first. Okay.
So.
And now we are here, but we can't wait here for our.
Why not?
Yeah. Thanks, Peter.
You can't do that in an if statement. You should create a variable for the whole line. Fantastic. So now we receive our categories, right?
Categories for that. Am I writing? Categories for that.
And now down there in the if statement, you can say if categories length or is empty.
Is empty, I think. Okay, it's empty. So
we don't need anything here. We can just leave it like that and order it, because if you make the
here.
Fantastic. Can you sort that a little bit?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Here, right.
So
Okay.
fantastic. So what we have now is we check against these categories. If it is empty, if we get an empty list back, we don't save anything inside.
Yeah.
So if we do that now and we execute that init test data, for example, directly in the init Hive on top, it will most likely crash. And there is a reason for that, because we don't actually have made these category models to a real Hive object, right? We need to annotate that everywhere. But I would say we try it out, we make it break, and after that we fix it. So bring up the init test data and execute it inside of the init Hive.
This one I should put here?
Yep, after the initialization, we just init the test data.
Init test data here.
So, and if you save now, you will get errors, hopefully. Here we go. But yeah, that's from the app provider, because the app provider still needs the categories at the moment. We don't read them, and so this is failing at the moment. So if you go to the app provider up there, we need to get somewhere the categories. And who has now the information about all our categories?
The Hive DB.
Correct. So whenever...
Oh my goodness. No.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So now here in the app provider, we will have a list of categories, so we stick with that. So we have here an empty list in the app provider.
Just click here. Okay, what?
An empty list with categories. How do we have a variable? List, tag,
and what is that? Category?
Category model.
Category model, and
then underline categories.
Categories, almost. And this is at the beginning an empty list.
Yes, or we can even do it like that. Now we need a constructor for app provider. App provider, you need to write it. There is an R missing at the end. And now in app provider, we receive now, I don't think we need curly braces in that case, because we can just use a named constructor. Okay. So inside of that parameter part, we need to have curly braces and say this.categories.
Okay. This is what we,
Fantastic. And I think now it,
categories is...
Yeah, the problem is it can't be private now. Yeah. That's the issue. So instead of making it private, you can... Very good solution. Yeah, keep it like that for now. That's fine. I think the last method you don't need anymore. You can get rid of that.
This one.
It's not yet a good solution, but this is something. So at least we should get rid of all the build errors.
I think we have still something.
Yep, and I hear that the dart analyzer is complaining, so...
You can use categories because...
If you go down there in the dart analyzer, you find that there is a missing bracelet somewhere. Fantastic. And it's built. And as you can see on the right side, the categories are lost, right? They are not there anymore. So now we need somehow to initialize, because we have already initialized, so where do we get now the data from categories? So to put there something inside.
So we have here the app. So we can.
Hey, Monsieur Sutar, how are you?
So we can access to.
Can you go to the main.dart?
Main.dart here.
And scroll down a little bit. And as you see here, we have the created change notifier provider. And here we have an app provider.
Yes.
And the app provider now has wants to have a value, right?
Access to the get categories that we wrote, right?
Access to the get to.
Okay. Yeah.
So here inside we want now to get, we want to pass in something that is categories, right? So what I would suggest is that we say categories, double categories. It's a named constructor that you created seconds ago. No?
Yeah.
Small. Fantastic.
Categories.
And now we want to access our repo, our category repo.
This is the category repo.
Dot get or read categories.
Oh, the category is gonna be here. Okay.
So, and you can't semicolon the whole thing because we are in a constructor, and you have to wait for it because it's a future. Cool. Now we have to make something async, but this is a build function, right? So this will not work.
I think you can't wait. Oh?
Not in a build function, no. So this will not work. This solution is not good, right? So we have to change something in the app provider that reads the data.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we do that? We go into the app provider. We remove
but
that line.
I will remove this one.
Yes. So we go into the app provider. We don't need a constructor like we did before.
No?
Yeah, sure.
Here.
Cool. So we don't need this part.
Can't help.
We need the constructor, but we don't have a named parameter here in that case. The fight with the keyboard.
The command set. Here we go.
Fantastic. So, and now remove that curly bracelet inside.
And you have this one.
Mm-hmm. And now we need curly bracelet behind. We need a constructor body.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And now we can't execute an await function, right? But we can initialize anyway somehow the app provider.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that. So we write a method. So for example, init categories or something.
We can go for the categories.
Mm-hmm. No. Don't write it out. It's just a call in that case. We have to write it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So close it. Yep. And if you go to the init categories and press Alt Enter, you can create the method. Well done.
Yeah. And this will give me a list of
void, because we stick here inside of the provider, right? We don't change here anything.
Okay.
And what we'll do up here in the change notifier, up here you will enter a list of categories. We have that already down there. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Inside of the init categories, we will call now that the categories.
Yeah. And we will set it to
the repository. Now we can await because this method can be asynchronous.
Category repo was it all?
Correct.
Category repo, and here we want to read
categories. Fantastic.
Now here I think we can wait here and go here for the add.
All right, and now the categories has changed, and because we are in a provider with a change notifier, what do we have to do after the state of a provider has changed?
We should call this state.
Wrong.
No.
We are in a provider, not inside of the set state.
We should notify every children.
Yeah, very done. Notify listeners.
Notify listeners.
Correct. So we notify our listeners. Fantastic.
Okay.
And so that means we get that asynchronously, and as soon as we get data, there is everything done. So what is that? Expected a class member. What is on? You made a semicolon behind. I think that's not necessary. So that's fair. Okay, so now we have that. Is there something that I miss? We can make the categories again private, right? We don't need that public.
Here.
Rename field will be invisible. Okay.
What?
I don't know. Just override it like that. Yeah.
There is anyone else here? Okay.
Okay. So now we have the categories.
We have the categories, and this should work now.
Okay, but we can see already there are some broken things, and we have to identify why it's broken.
Next, let me do this one. How does it work? Here we go. Okay, perfect. Now we are going to the add recipe. Wait, just a minute. I have so many windows open. Okay, now
you can make right click and close all.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect. Now we have here something which is the categories. Add recipe screen, and here we have the categories.
So what did we delete it that we need now again? We have made our variable private, right?
Yeah.
So how do we access it from outside?
So I should call the constructor.
No, we get the getter function. We deleted the getter function of categories. Shit. So we need that back. So back to our provider. And down here on the bottom, we need now our getter function back. Is it dark or is it just me that it's super dark? Here we go. See something? You see?
I can't see anything, and it's almost 2 hours is over.
Yeah. So
what we want here a getter function.
Yes.
And what do we want to get?
Our categories, Mahtab.
Okay. That.
Okay. List
of category.
Category model.
Category model. And
get.
This is the get.
You have to get categories. This is the name of the getter function.
Yeah.
And now we pass down the categories. So underline and categories.
We have
and semicolon. Fantastic. And with that, we have solved that. I think now everything should be green, and you can try to start up our application from ground up. So make it red, completely kill it, and start it up. It could be that we fail now and we get some errors, and I hope so, because we don't have a generator running, right? So the Hive database don't know exactly how the category model works.
So we need still the old stuff here.
Just let's wait a second just to see how the how our app behaves. But yes, this is actually what we want. So can you go back to Android? Why? Because we want to see if the app is failing.
Yeah.
If everything is working, then we don't have to care, right?
But I think actually this is the way which we should work for the Hive.
So you see we get some errors. And this is perfect because this is exactly what we want. And where do we start here? So scroll a bit down. Unhandled exception, Hive error. You need to initialize Hive or provide a path to store the box. Okay, so did you remember that I said at the beginning that the initialization maybe is not a singleton?
Yeah.
So this seems to be the problem. So we can run into the Hive DB, but it seems that we don't, that the initialization don't keep up here. So, or do we don't init Hive well? So I'm not sure with that, so... Hive impl.
Hive. You need to initialize Hive or provide a path to store the box. But I thought the Hive Flutter will do that for us.
Correct. So Hive Flutter will do that for our Flutter application. So I think this shouldn't be a problem. The question is more where comes the error from? And let's see, if you scroll a bit down, we search now for a line that is somewhere in our part. And here you see our category repo. And somewhere in our category repo, one line down below, if you jump there, so this one is failing at the moment. So we try to open a box, but it tells us that Hive is not there yet. So,
okay, because it can actually initialize, because we missed maybe this part, or?
No, this has nothing to do with that.
No?
It's because of the Hive initialization. So the init Hive is not done yet. At least it tells us that. This is the error message. The error message has nothing to do that there is something missing. It tries to open a box on Hive, but it says there is nothing to open because Hive is not initialized yet. Do we have to provide a path? Because if we go inside of the Hive for Flutter, I think there was something that it takes that as standard from Android, the get path, the get documents path from the path provider, I think. So this shouldn't be the problem.
If we are here.
Yes. So there they init it, but be careful. This Hive here is not Flutter, right? This is not with Flutter Hive.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Should I go to the Hive Flutter part?
Yeah, you can just go to the docs here.
Okay. Yes, you need path. I worked with before.
But With init Flutter, I'm pretty sure you don't need it, because inside we use that get application documents directory, and this is the path, right? So it takes the directory that it needs for this application. So
if you're
this is not the problem, I think.
This is a Hive here, init Flutter.
And as you see, it's just a subdirectory from there. So I'm pretty sure that this should be there, the path.
Okay, now what's the problem?
So can we go to the main file, please?
Yeah.
To the main.dart.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is if we are jumping somewhere in between inside. So if we go up and we don't wait here, do you see that? And I think that's the problem. If we jump into the init Hive here, can we make this instead of void, it returns a future, please?
Future.
Because I could imagine that we don't wait for that to happen. Yes, we have two packages. Yeah, but thank you. I think we got that. So now we wait here, and now we go to the main.dart, and we have to await for this to happen. So after that we await. And what I think is it was running through. It tried to create. Correct. It tried to create our provider. With that, it failed. So just enter here await.
We have here option. Right?
But thank you, El Missouri.
And here I need the option.
Correct. And I think that should do the trick. And now we're coming to the problems that most likely the object is not initializable or something like that. So, but this should be something else.
This is something else.
Yes, you see the category model is now complete.
Cannot write, unknown type,
and did you forget to register the
adapter?
Cool.
Yes.
Exactly.
Actually, we forget it to purpose.
Exactly, so we didn't forget. So we jump out to our category model. Let's fix that.
Okay. We are going here to our model. This is this one. And what we need here is...
We go to... the best thing is if we follow up the documentation once more. So go to the quick start here. And let's search. So it needs to be down, right? Because this is...
that was here, Max.
Yeah, but in the quick start it needs to be declared too, right? Because why shouldn't it be?
Here, type?
Yep, into the type adapters, right? So now we have to generate the type adapters.
Okay.
We have to generate the type adapters with the Hive type.
Yeah.
We have to annotate all fields with the Hive field. And then we just run the build tasks.
Okay.
As you can see, so we can do that.
First one is this one. This is for...
if you scroll down, I think if we have that here, yeah. So Hive type is the top one, and then we just initialize the different parts.
So this is the Hive type.
I think you have to import Hive for that.
Make me crazy. Okay. Import Hive. It's a normal Hive, right?
Could be. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
You need to import the Hive Dart. Yep.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to work.
So,
but you have to add this. Yeah. But be careful, not person g.dart. So in our case, it is category model. I think there is this. You will have that underline in between. It will be red, of course, because what happens now is it will create us that file in the future, but we don't have that yet. So, why is you have to execute the Hive type? That's the problem. You missed the brackets. Yeah.
Okay. Here.
Good.
And now for each of them, we're going to like that, like that. This is gonna be our first one, and this is the second one.
Correct.
Now
hey Nicole, nice to see you.
Hi. And now let's see here. What was the last one?
We have to execute the build runner now. So run build task would be the thing, and the last thing is we have to register the adapter, but we will do that.
Okay, so I can just copy this one.
Oh, Samir, thank you for subscribing our channel. Hope you enjoy the content. Okay, and you execute it in the terminal, exactly. And
let's
then
see what's happened. So now it's like the JSON serializer, or
something like that. It's generating us a code that
yeah.
is like connected with this file, and the build runner will take now care, because he knows now through that Hive type, Hive fields, and so on, what he needs to create for us. And now it will generate us the files that we need to save that to the database. And hopefully it will not take too much time. Then we can have a look into it. So generated summary, cool. It took some actions. You see it will run now. I think the first time is the very slow one, and it's getting faster. But in general, the build method, I think in very big projects, it's getting pretty slow. So what do we get here now? So can you scroll a bit up? Just on testing, on, all right. So, okay, this is all done. Fantastic. There is an error, okay.
Have to provide a non-null type ID.
Non-null typed ID, okay.
They provide now. So I didn't provide anything, I thought it will generate it automatically.
The question is now, we don't know. You have to provide a non-null type ID. So how, most likely it's an Hive type, I could imagine. Can you command B inside, so we can have a look how it works?
If adapter name is not set, it will be your class plus adapter.
Okay, so this is the name, but the type ID, what is that? If you can command B here also, that we can read it. The type ID of the annotated class, okay. Why is the, can you jump into the documentation once more? Why is it here empty? Is this possible? Maybe the documentation is out of date. So if you scroll down, as you can see, each field has a unique number that we have. Okay. Person adapter. Adapter name.
No. You can change that name with the optional adapter name parameter of Hive type.
Okay.
Enums.
Hive type, no. Just takes that. So we just pass down an ID. I don't know what that means. Is that an integer or a dynamic? What was the... It is an integer, okay. Yeah, so just give it a type ID, I don't know yet. So go into that brackets here and say type ID. No, small. And it's an integer, so just give it a 0 for now. Yeah, and try it again to run the build runner. Hopefully it's a bit faster than 25 seconds now. Yeah, but you can see the different actions, it gets now smaller, right?
Yeah,
so we have less actions.
Yeah.
The cool thing is you can also have a watcher, so whenever you change
Succeeded.
something. Perfect. So
and
2 outputs.
15 seconds actually.
Okay, so if we go to the left into the project, and can you just click inside? So you see, we get now this model G. And if we take a look into it, we can see some very important stuff. Like, for example, the read stuff, that doing some stuff from the reader.
This is which we provided actually. We have the read, category model.
Yeah, so he knows that this is a string. He writes the bytes, that's fine, and cool. So this is actually from the generator, so we don't have to care so much about. It's just important to know how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the moment of truth. If you are restarting the application and everything works well, I don't know if you should maybe close it completely down just in case. I don't trust it after the last time.
You're sitting in front of the screen and now don't know how we should come further.
Yeah, but now if we start that up and everything works well, we should actually see our categories, at least the categories that we had already. But now we have it in a database. The only thing is that I still don't know, and this will be a to-do for the next time, how we receive the ID and understand that the ID that we have in place is exactly the same like the key. I don't know how we do that in the future, so we will have to think about that.
Oh.
Still some errors, fantastic. What was the last step that we forgot? We have to register the adapter.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
Do that here. Register adapter. Amazing! Hive
generated adapter. Can you go to the left side here and go to generate adapter? All right. Hive object relation.
Updating class, Hive object.
Can you just jump into the dark mode switch? Maybe we find here something.
Setup dependencies.
Initialization. Okay.
Structure of the app. Which case?
State. Refreshing. Okay. The problem is we don't see here anything. So how can we register? Wait, stay here. Register adapter. All right, perfect. We need that.
Stay here. Okay.
So where we init the Hive, we have also to register our adapter. So we go to Android Studio. We have our Hive DB somewhere.
This one. Here we
go. And now just make dot dot after the init Flutter.
Here we don't need this. Right?
And instead of person adapter, we have the category model adapter. And this is now the class that we have out of the generated file. So if you make correct, no,
this is not one.
Just go to the Hive DB, and if you click and Command B inside of that one, you see it's the generated file.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So for us, this is done. Restart our application and let's see if this works. As I said, I would hard reload, so kill everything and start it up again, because I don't know, I don't trust that whole thing. As soon as it is on the database side, it's always a bit wacky. But it would be fantastic if we have managed at least to save our database, to save something inside, that we can use that now in the future process.
Yeah, the next step gonna be for the recipes. For
the recipes, and then we have also to identify exactly that problem that Modradir is searching for. So how can we change an image into a string?
Yeah.
So we still run into problems. What is this problem now? Register adapter was called on null. So this is bad. Okay. So maybe we can't do it on init Flutter.
What I'm thinking is here we are for sure the Hive.
Yeah, but stay careful. So what happens here? So we get Hive, init, and then register adapter. You see they use double points for both of them. So we have to do the same because we return the Hive object all the time. So before we did it on init Flutter, whatever this returns us, maybe null, and now we do it on the Hive object.
Okay, Max, can you tell me why do I use two dots?
Yeah, 2 dots will return the first object that comes inside. So if we go here inside, we see we get an Hive interface.
Yeah. So
if we get an init Flutter and we would just use 1 dot, we can see we return a future here.
Yes.
So if
you should wait. Okay.
So exactly, if I just make 1 dot, this returns us a future, right?
So the next method can be executed.
Exactly, because this one tries to execute on a future and not on the Hive implementation. So if we make 2 dots, now what we say is we want to get the first object back from that. So even though that we execute init Flutter on it, we return at the end this Hive object again. And so we do it with the second one.
Okay.
And so we have this, So I ordered it a bit, make a comma there. Fantastic. So
now kill it again. Run it again.
It's pretty cool with that 2 dots, because with that you can create a builder function, right? So you create a class for a builder and you don't have to return always that object. You can just use it and just do it all the time, and that's fantastic. And the next error, fantastic. You need to initialize Hive or provide a path to store the box. Okay, so we run again into a problem with the await, I think. That's interesting. Why?
What I'm thinking is
be careful.
Here.
Can we stick at the code first before we jump outside? No, because that await works for both of them, I think. So that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
So Hive or provide a path to store the box. So we're coming again to that problem. Can you scroll down where it comes from? The Hive repository category. Can you jump here? To that? So it comes from the open box again. So somehow this was again faster as our initialization, and it comes from the init test data. So this one tried to execute the category repo. but we know that it executes the POCs now. If you scroll up, we know that this happened already.
Yeah, actually, yes.
But maybe you're right,
But
maybe our
the
await is not working correctly. So what I would suggest is that we make 2 lines out of it, just to try it. So we make one with init flutter, semicolon, and then we say Hive.
Yeah, right. After that, we can go for Hive.
Yep, and register, and wait for that too. Yeah, just to make sure that this is working fine. But actually I think this shouldn't be a problem, but you never know. And the reason why our hot reload is not working, because we do it in the main, right? So before everything runs up, and because we ask for the database to be active before the app is starting, the hot reload will not change there or anything. Yeah, okay. So that's why we always have to restart the application in full.
Okay, I see.
Because, yeah, it's coming in first after that. Okay. Oh, look at that! Categories!
Great!
Fantastic. And now we can save different file names for this stuff. It's in the database. We can update the whole thing. So, yeah.
This is actually amazing. I like the idea that you create immediately all functions that we need.
It's just, well, usually you don't do that, actually, to create all of them. Because you will do that whenever you need that, right?
Yeah.
Because you never want to have functionality in place that is not tested, which costs money. So you usually try to small that down as good as possible. But it was a good training, I think, for all of us to understand how CRUD is working, what it is meaning, how we implement all of that. And especially if we work with databases, it's always the same somehow.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that this exists.
We need it later or sooner.
Yeah. And here we really have to upgrade the animation. It looks fantastic and it's amazing,
animation.
but we really should work with that. But yeah, so did you learn something?
I learned a lot.
Perfect. So I learned also some things, and that's pretty amazing. I loved it, Hive, to be honest. I liked how it works. The API and the code generation is pretty easy to use. I like that. I'm not sure if it is so much better than SQLite, but to be honest, this has other people to decide, and the performance is talks for Hive, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
It is a key value store, easy to use.
Which is also the same as SQLite, or isn't it also?
No, SQLite is a real database. So you really have tables, you have columns, you have the rows that you select, and so on and so forth. So our next steps will be to understand how we have to handle the IDs correctly so that we can update elements. That is very important for us. The next part will be to save the recipes, actually, where we want to save also the images parts, right? Yeah. So if we have an image, a new one, we want to save that. Then we will come to maybe kinds of CI/CD we can think about.
Maybe we can also think about testing.
We have testing would be a fantastic solution, especially now that we have really something that we can test.
Some
and all of that
would be great.
Some functionalities, yep. So stay tuned. We'll be getting more and more interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining today.
That was amazing.
And if you have any questions,
the next live, Max.
Oh yeah. So the next live will be, I don't know yet, but I'm pretty sure on Saturday.
Yeah.
If everything works well and I don't feel bad like the last time. Sorry for that once more. So on Saturday I want to work further on the Dart koans, if this is possible. That would be fantastic. But I'm getting there a bit better because they are lying around and I know they are on 80% of that what I want to achieve. And the good thing is I want to create, like, if this is possible, and I will ask some people around to create like a Flutter application surrounding it, so you can enter code, you get some solutions for that.
We need live on animations, please. Ooh, okay.
We have to improve the animations, that's true. It's also a good point. Sembust, no, I have never used that, but it sounds great.
Sembust. It's a lot of Hive and SQLite. Okay, no.
Yeah, but at the moment there are so many good packages that you can try around. I think we really have to learn them more.
Yeah.
But thank you for the name. I will add that to my list of reading and inform myself.
That we have a look for that.
Yeah. And a live for animations. That would be something for you. I think you are the animation expert, right? So actually, after the Flutter days, you
maybe I should do that. Yeah. I don't know.
So
I'm somehow alone, I can't imagine to do live stream alone without Max. I'm still not confident. I think
I think we can try
as much
that.
as, but I can give it a try.
People will be interested, I think, especially.
That I just create, but maybe what we can do is we have at the moment challenges for the code pen.
Oh, true, the stack challenge.
We can maybe, or I can maybe start a live stream for code pens with the challenges that we have every week, and we can also bring some animation for that.
Correct.
What do you think about it, guys?
Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is I created something very spicy today, so I wanted to share that with you. And this is underneath the Google Drive. And I think I sent that today in Twitter, but also there I added all the streams that we currently have. And if something is changing, I will also add that here. So here we go, you get, oh, it's not the chat like I expected. I hope here is, well, I can't read anything. Sorry, you can't see us for a second. So, but you will find here underneath the docs, they are also down in the video description. You find all the parts where I explain where we have added the stream plans, when do we stream at the moment, what do we do there. At least this gives you an intention, right? So it could change that the topic is changing during the live stream, like we are thinking about improving something or talking about something completely off topic, or yeah, there is always something new. You will find when we get the next videos out, and you have, for example, how I add the font ligatures for Visual Studio Code and Android Studio, and why we use JetBrains products more often than VS Code, and yeah. So all that stuff is there.
Yeah.
And I gave you also the possibility, and I think someone found that already, the possibility to comment on everything. So if you have more questions that you think would make a good fit in that, I would highly ask you to give feedback, add that to that list, so we can work all together on that.
That would be amazing, guys.
Right? So that's
a great
fantastic.
Support and feedback for us.
Yeah. So this was just my idea at the moment, and let's see how this goes on. Cool. But this is it for today. I think we made a good job. Thanks for everything.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We see us latest on Friday. I think we will have a Flutter news, right?
Yeah, we will bring another video
Yeah.
this week, and after that maybe on for sure
on Saturday. And maybe you make your live stream. It will be a secret live stream where Mahtab is just going online like in the middle of the night and
no one will join me. But I should still announce it, so no worries, we will go do that.
Alright.
Amazing, guys. Thank you very much for joining us.
You.
That was amazing. Have a great week and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.